Katrina here, and welcome to the First Come Journal with me, Wednesday for September of 2022. Today we will be doing a couple spreads and my Hobonichi cousin from the trip I took when I went to Texas. Before we get started, I wanted to share with you some of my supplies and where I got my photos printed up. Costco. Our Costco no longer prints in person, but you can do it online. I got these 5x5s. After I made some collages in my Google Photos. This way I was able to cut them apart and have teeny tiny photos that we like to put in our journals, as I'm showing you there. I'm also going to be using items from past Heidi Swap kits, or those are the colorways that I felt would tie in with the theme of the colors that we used at camp. My Lamy pen, which has an ink called Texas in it. Some new scissors I got at Daiso. Some tweezers that I have in my studio, nothing fancy. My favorite punch, the round corner as I call it. Some $1.25 double-sided sticky tape. These are from Heidi Swap also, journaling cards. And some colors from my very small washi tape collection. I thought the desert scenes and some of these colors matched up with the photos that I ended up taking and printing out. Now I left and landed on the 9th and I came back on the 14th. Yet I have more photos than that, and that's okay. I'm just going to go through as many pages as I need for the rest of July. Why? Because it's my journal and this is what I want to do. Never feel constrained that you have to put it right on the date. Yet, these first couple pages I wanted to be in chronological order. As you can see, I'm showing you the photos that I want to put on July 9th. I like rounding the photos, and one reason I like rounding them is that I think it gives a little softer feel to it, more of a homey feeling to it, even though it makes a great mess on your work area. Here I'm showing you the difference, and I really like how the rounded edges do. So right here I thought I was being smart, thinking that the photos were thin enough and I was strong enough to cut them all at one time. And that epically failed. Therefore, I had to individually round them before I could do the layout. You take certain photos every time you travel by air. When I lived in Portland, they have this famous carpet where people take photos of their feet on the famous carpet and post it. And I love doing that, so I did this at this particular airport that I left. Well, the carpet isn't famous or very pretty to look at, but tradition is tradition. I also was up before the sun rose, so it was really neat to watch the sunrise across the way of the airport. And the last picture I decided I want to put on is one that I created. I created my own luggage tags this time so I could quickly spot my pegs from afar. Then I'm going to layer the first two because I like doing that to give myself a little more white space for journaling. Remember, when you're laying out photos in your journal, regardless of the format, it could be a traveler's notebook, a Hobonichi, a generic book that you get from the dollar store. It's up to you how you want to layer them, how you want to lay them down. There's no set formula. Whatever gets your creative juices going. As you can tell, I decided that there was just too much on this particular picture and I wanted the focus to be more on the luggage tag. So I trimmed it down, re-rounded the corners, and put it on the paper. It also helps me once I have done one page, even though I might not finished decorating to jot down some information that I want to make sure that corresponds with these photos. I've been using my TWSBI for this trip, and I got a ink that I will link down below, and the name of it was Texas. It's kind of a brownish color, and I thought that was so cool to kind of connect my trip of Texas writing with the ink that was called Texas. Now on to the second page. Here I'm using a sticky note. I put this down before I ordered my photos from Costco to remind me that I actually wanted to put something else on this page. This is the day, the 10th, that we all got to meet each other for the very first time. Got to meet Kelly Bangs and Paula G, along with a lot of other crafty friends that I've known for the last 2.5 years. If I had a larger journal, then this probably the rest of the pictures would be on that one page. So as you can tell, I'm trying to decide which ones to use. This is the first time my friend and I were able to meet Kelly Bangs, who is one of the creators of this camp. And then also we got to meet up with a couple other friends. And as you can tell, I just can't decide which ones to put on there at first. Then I realized this was quote unquote the meetup day. So I'm searching for the photos that I had for that particular day as the meetup. It took me a while because I didn't organize them in order like I thought I did. I could have put Bucky down there because I went to Bucky before I went to camp, which is another thing. When you go to Texas, you need to go see Bucky. So I'm thinking of maybe doing a spread prior to my trip pages, which is okay because in a way, I went to see Bucky before I went to did any of the other things. This is a gentleman that runs the facility that we had the camp at, and he traditionally takes a group photo. You saw that in the beginning of this video. This is the one I was looking for when Paula G and Kelly G welcome us. And then this one is of one of the helpers who gave us our room assignments and our lanyards. So now that I have found the photo of them actually welcoming us, I thought that would be appropriate to put on my name tag page. So now what I'm going to be doing is deciding, do I need to cut it down? Do I need to trim it? And I decide I'm going to trim a little off of it. So I get out, yes, friends, my 20-year-old original paper cutter. I have not bought any new blades. Hey, it still works, so why change anything if it hasn't broken or has been broken? Anyways, I get out the round corner because that's my style, and I decide that that will fit snug under my little cute pink cowboy hat. And then I want the marquee sign that they put out in front of the camp. And then I realized I really don't need any of the background. I just want the focus of the marquee sign. So I continue to trim that to place that on the page. Okay, that's the top of the page. Well, now the bottom of the page. I keep coming back to these two photos because both of them are very important moments to me during that meetup. I was trying to decide if I could layer it and hide them kind of under those flowers to have them pop up. I'm like, well, this is really important to me, and this one is. But then I realized I already had a photo of Kelly B above, standing next to Kelly G. So I'm like, well, let's put that one to the side, and I decided to do this one. It just kind of fits into the day. The lady that's in front of us is so funny and so sweet. And she's taller than me. And she goes, here, let's take a photo. Listen to my instructions. So we did. She squat down in front of us. She says, now just do this type of smile. We did. She took the picture, and it was just like the perfect selfie. So from then on, I call it like my Texas smile. Anytime I do any selfies from now on, I've been practicing that, and they turn out pretty good. So thank you for teaching us that. And that was the first thing I learned at Cutie Camp before we even got to do any other fun activities. One more thing I had to add to this particular page is the part where we took the group selfie. You guys saw it quickly at the beginning of this video, and I still wanted to be able to see my name, so I decided to make a tip-in. For the people that don't know what tip-ins are, it's when you have items such as pictures. It could be a journaling card, it could be receipts, it could be a ticket stub, and you want it to be on that particular page, but you don't want it to be glued down so you can see what's below that picture or item. So what you do is you line up the items that you want to make the tip in, and it doesn't have to be 2 items. It can only be one of them if you want to, but this particular one, I wanted these 2 photos. So I took out the washi tape and then held it sticky side up, and then carefully tried to evenly, because it's a thin piece of washi tape, make like a sandwich, a little book. So once I folded it and creased it, then I trimmed either side so it would be able to be open and close like I wanted it to. And then when I finished doing that, I decided that it's going to go right in the center of the page. And by doing the tip-in, then I'll be able to flip it over, and if I decide to put journaling cards on the back of it, or so I can see the name. And there I go again. It's destined to be on this page, so why not? Even though it's not the same size, I decide to put that as part of the tip-in. Once again, it's my journal, my creativity. Just like when you do your journaling, if it's something you haven't seen before or done before, go for it. No one's stopping you, and it's your memories. So this one, I try to center it as much as possible. I try not to do too much math when I'm creating. That's why I'm not an architect. Once I decided exactly where I wanted it, then I trimmed the other 2 parts of the washi tape. I could have folded it over onto the photo to give a little more security, but I didn't want to miss out seeing any of the bright smiles from the photo that's in the middle. Okay, that's what it looks like on the back. And I realized that I didn't center it on the washi tape as much, so I'm going to lay over another piece of the same colored washi tape just to make sure it's secure so it doesn't fall out in my book when I look at it. Once I'm satisfied with that, I then try to figure out exactly where I want it and how I want it to fold. So you see the picture, and then like an accordion book, and I like how that will look. So what you do, just kind of like how I secured the 2 or the 3 photos, I picked the same colored washi tape, and then you just adhere it to that page of the book. So what I do is I put a piece of tape on top of the photo and measure exactly where I want it. And this one was kind of right in the crease. It landed on my first page, which is fine by me. then I trim I take another piece and then I put it on the back, and then I trim the two edges. Because this particular washi tape was so narrow, I wanted to make sure it was pretty secure in the book. And I fold it over, and then to secure it on that side. Because sometimes washi tape doesn't have a lot of adhesive, so it will like peel up if you don't put it down correctly. So that's why I'm making sure that each side has it secure. Then I just use my thumb to kind of peel away the excess washi tape. And there we go. Now, to avoid always having to touch it, I think it's coming up, I put a little tab on the first picture. But I got an idea before that of doing a journaling card. So this particular journaling card has, you can't really see it from here, but it has numbers on it. So my final idea for this page is that I'm going to put numbers on each of the photos that I put down, and then on the back I'm going to write like a little memo. So number 1 is, I might write Kelly B and Paula G greet us. Number 2 is our big selfie group. So you'll see it in the final flip through. So I decided to do that, and as I'm pointing to it, I decided that's when I'm going to number it. I'm like, that's a brilliant idea. So to finish it off, I put a little tab on the photo. So when I want to look at it, I don't have to keep getting my fingerprints all over the photo there. On to the next page. I'm deciding whether to put in when we received our key to our cute little ladybug RV, or do I put photos of fun things that happened during camp. And I finally decide to kind of do it in my own logical order. I mean, we got the keys to our RV before then, but I think I might need a little more room for that spread, so I decided to do our table. Each little area on the tables were sponsored by different companies, different artists, and it was amazing how many wonderful goodies we received that we were able to use during camp and still continue using when we get home. They kept warning us, make sure you bring enough suitcases, or at least an empty suitcase, to bring home your items. And I'm glad I did do that. I was flying Southwest, and you're allowed still to have 2 checked-in bags. So one had all my items, and the other one was empty, which of course I brought home completely full. Luckily, neither of them went over the 50-pound mark, so I thought I did pretty good. I found one that had my table mates that I just pointed to, and along with our teacher who taught us the Texas Smile. So I decided these are the photos that I'm going to put on this page. My Hobonichi cousin is already getting so fluffy. I started using this as a spring edition, so I started using it in April. So I am pinning it down with some clips from the $1.25 store to try to weigh it down a little so I'm able to decide what order I want them in. I like doing some spreads geometrically shaped, or sometimes layers, as you know, is the first one. So if I do it that way, I would have that area to be able to journal. And I'm thinking about And see these chevrons. I just saw someone else where they don't use the chevrons on every single corner of one picture, but they spread them out amongst the pictures on the one page. Then I'm just saying, well, if I use those corners, maybe I could use some of these alphabet stickers. So this is why you don't glue things down right away. As you can tell, I'm deciding maybe the longer one on top and the smaller ones on the bottom. And I don't care for that. I like the big long one at the top and then showing the items and then us at the bottom. Kind of like an upside down pyramid if you think about it that way. So I believe this is my final decision on this particular one. And then I'm like, oh, if I move it over, then I'll have room to put some stickers down or journaling. As I finish up this page, the following day, groups of us decided to make a pilgrimage to the Little Craft Place, which is outside of Houston, and visit the neighboring town, Round Top. The Round Top sticker was created by one of my friends who did a whole sheet of different items she sketched for us to use in our journaling. The other stickers, minus the alphabet stickers, were items that I purchased when we were at the Little Crafty Place. I've mentioned this store numerous times before in other videos. They are known for their washi wall. If you're in Houston, it's a must-see place that you have to stop by and meet the owners and go shopping in. You will not be disappointed. There's the washi wall. I just grabbed that one. So I'm looking for things that had to do with those two places. And I take pictures with my journal. Why? Because I can. Her name is Fiona, and I want to show sometimes that she goes places with me. But I decided to do the washi wall picture instead. In Round Top, I believe twice a year, they have a huge antique week show. Junk Gypsy is one of the shops that's open all year long. And it's famous for its eclectic items of shoes, glasses, clothing, boots, hats. And we decided, well, we're here. It's kind of a once in a lifetime, so why not stop there and see what it's all about? So the group I went to Houston with, we stopped there also, and they have these really cool items outside of their shop that you can take pictures. One of them said Queen. There was a couple crowns. There's a famous vehicle that has been shown in HGTV shows. I'll link their shop below. If you're into that type of retro, funky vibe, you'll really enjoy checking out their website. So that, I decided that was going to be the main theme of this page, even though it wasn't on July 13th. I could have done a tip-in on the other page, but I felt it would be too crowded and that we deserved our own page of when we went to the Junk Gypsy. I fast-forwarded this last part of the video I wanted to show you how I did the layout, but it took me a long time. And the reason it took me a long time is once I get in my creative zone, I take my time. I'm not in a rush. I don't have a deadline to meet. And I just keep working at it. That's how my creative mind works. I wanted to show you the whole process so you can see how much I think about it as I'm placing the photos. My number one rule is never glue down the photos until you are completely satisfied. Some people, they'll glue down the photos and then decorate around it. Others will decorate the whole page and then place the photos. I think once you get the photo placement, then everything else comes into play. I'm using my generic tweezers for I don't have any fancy dancy crafting tweezers because I'm a low budget crafter. These came with my incense cones that I use in my room. And I'm like, well, if I can pick up an incense, why can't I pick up some stickers with it? and they really work well with the letters. Someday I'll purchase a nice fancy pair of tweezers. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I'm glad that you were able to catch the first of 4 Journal With Me Wednesdays for September. I have 3 other planned, one similar to this, and then 2 art journals. I also did layouts in my traveling notebook that I took with me. These were some leftover photos, and I hated the fact that if I didn't use them now, they would end up in a shoebox and never see the light of day. I would love to read down below what you thought of this, and what do you do with your photos that you put in your journals? Do you do tip-ins? Do you just put one picture on the page? Looking forward to reading those. See you next time. Thank you for watching. Remember, messy hands, happy life. See you next time. Bye.